information that will help anyone trying to move things forward in this digital world of accounting. What a mouthful. I am joined this week by Kevin Fitzgerald, the MD of in the UK for Employment Hero, because if you hadn't noticed and you don't read our newsletter, I mean, who doesn't, then you would have seen that Employment Hero have released free payroll. And I think this is incredibly intriguing, like how we got to a stage now where payroll software is essentially free. So my first question to you, Kevin, is what does this mean? What is free payroll through Employment Hero?
Ryan, thanks for having me. Good to see you again. Yeah, look, free payroll. I think we'll start with the headline because a lot of people would just go to the assumption that it's no good or it's a bit crap and it doesn't do what they need to do. But we wanted to turn it on its head. And the strategy is twofold. So a year ago, we really got deep into the market, like to understand like where are people spending, like on compliance and what do they need and where is the value in the payroll software market. And we could see it declining rapidly. It is a bit of a race to the bottom with payroll software vendors becoming cheaper and cheaper. And there's only for a smaller tech company, you think about the P&L and L and the structure of the balance sheet in a business like that, right? Like they're just not going to last long term. Um, and we said we don't want to be in that race to the bottom. Like it doesn't make sense. And if we kept investing in that race to the bottom, it would distract us. So we said, well, we'll go to the bottom first. And people would be like, hey, but that's not sustainable. But Employment Hero is a very different business to our competitors, and our P&L and balance sheet would look quite different. And the biggest example would be we are fully remote. Okay, so 1,800 staff globally. If we needed offices in the countries that we're in, we'd probably need 15 offices. So, quick calculation of the cost of that and the cost of running it would give you a tangible number that we actually don't wear every year and goes back into either profits or into development and R&D. But the key piece in being remote is the efficiency and productivity in the teams. So we know we're moving way faster than any competitor can at our
Yeah.
scale and size. And we looked at payroll and said, well, our mission is to make employment more valuable for everybody, which means the employers and the employees. And there's plenty of ways to do that. Like obviously giving people great software, great service, and then all the bells and whistles to go with it really helps. But we said, well, compliance is the common denominator across every SME that has staff in the UK. So why not actually like do what we said we would do and actually give value and give a lot of value? So that took us to, well, what do we actually put in the product offering? Because, a lot of businesses say, hey, we'll make it free, but we'll give 50%. And then when
Really
people
cut
hit,
it back. Yeah.
yeah, like, and then when they get stuck, then we'll go for the upgrade. That's not our intention. So our payroll platform, formerly known as KeyPay, we have stripped it back, but I think it's probably about 94% of the capability of the paid product.
Very
So
precise, Kevin.
yeah, well, look, I'm an accountant, right? You do remember that. But I wanted to be really certain that like we weren't ripping this apart, and then people were signing up, and then they felt like, hey, this is not great, and now I'm forced to pay. So what we've taken out of the payroll offering is timesheets, rostering, expenses, and some of the premium integrations to Telaroo, Microsoft. But pretty much everything is in there that you could run
Yeah.
full payroll for a business.
And
Especially, yeah,
and a lot of that is the stuff you've taken out is the stuff that a lot of payroll systems don't have anyway.
yeah,
You have to integrate something else into them to cover those areas. So essentially, all you've done is taken what was a very in-depth, detailed, no, probably especially back in the time was like market leading payroll system as a separate brand before it was
yeah,
acquired.
yeah.
And you've gone, okay, well, let's dissect this into what was probably the add-on products that were not everywhere, and what's the kind of core, and then you've made the core free. That's essentially what it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's the engine, right? Like, so it's the
Yeah,
compliance engine for a lot of people. So, look, I do understate as well. Just because it's free does not mean we will stop investing in it. I think that can be a fair assumption by anybody looking at us. But we're like, well, our mission is to make employment valuable, right? So like we will continue to invest in that product and make it stronger. Where we go from here, we're actually like now seeing people sign up to the free product and use it. We've had, I think it's about 180 sign-ups in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah,
So now the process is, let's go and speak to those people. Why did you come to us? What are you using it for? What do you think? And based on that feedback, like any product feedback, we might tweak things, but I don't ever see us taking anything away from it.
yep,
It might be that they actually want to upgrade, or um, and if somebody wanted like that piece, like timesheets, rostering, premium integrations, expenses, it's £2 per month after that, right? Like, and so there is
per
a
employee, per
per
employee.
employee, yeah. Yeah, that's an important point.
Yeah, yeah, not too, yeah, because
Yeah,
otherwise 5,000 employees, just £2.
£2. I think that would be a career limiting move. I think that's called. So we're trying to be sensible, right? Like, and we've been listening to the market for the last year, right? Like, I came over to take this role on just over a year ago, and we said, right, what's really happening? Where do we see employment hero? And look, we've tripled our revenue in 12 months, right? So we're in a really
Wow.
strong position, right, to take
Yep.
moves like this. And it's all comes back to like, how can we actually get behind, not just say that we're supporting SMEs, but how can we actually do it?
Yeah. And I guess if you were just a payroll offering, then
Mhm.
offering free payroll doesn't work economically. But because you've got that HR element, which I guess is the bit that's building out the original employment hero.
Yeah,
I said essentially what I guess you're seeing with this, and your play, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is that if you can get them on the payroll, then there's a good chance they're going to upgrade to the HR and have a fully integrated HR payroll space with no pressure, right? They can
yeah,
pick or choose to do it, but once they're into the suite that is Employment Hero, there's encouragement of upgrading and doing more, especially as they grow. You've got them kind of in that in what's it called, like the community that is Employment Hero. So is that
yeah,
the logic behind it?
yeah. Like, I think that is the logical route. Like, we expect there will be a cohort of people that use that product for life for free.
Yep,
They just don't need anything else. Um, but we also see that there's a lot of changes obviously in the UK employment law, right? Like, and people are coming
yep,
to us now for like HR advisory, which we offer, right? So that's a service that we offer. We have an internal team of employment lawyers that offer that service. So they may not actually come to us then for like a HR like technology upgrade. They might come for a service. Um, and that could be something then we could speak to them about and say, well, you've got some options here. You could upgrade to the basic HR plan. We can give you the service. And really, like, I do see it as that's why we have this opportunity to make payroll free. Employment Hero was built on the HR side system, like, and
yep.
it is absolutely enormous now, the business. So we're confident that a cohort of people will upgrade. But I don't think we're there yet in actually understanding that. We're now in the next phase of, let's go speak to the people who are using it for free and understand what they actually want and need. And then if we need to adjust our packages in the future to suit them, we could do that too.
Yeah, and
Mm.
I guess if you look at it from a technology point of view, if the product already exists and you've got to make compliance adjustments for anyone that's using the HR system anyway, right? Then there's no potential ongoing cost there. But that ignores support. So does the people using the free power still get support?
They still get support tickets, yeah, and they can use our chatbot, which is I don't know if you've heard of it, Finn by Intercom. Um,
I know
like, we're
Intercom. I've
seeing,
not heard of Finn.
yeah, Finn is the chatbot, and they've come in and customized it for us. So, like, our response times, initial response time is less than 20 seconds at the moment on the
Oh,
bot.
wow.
So, like, if someone wants to actually, or if they need support, absolutely. Um, it is a self-serve setup, but we've put in videos from our product team and, like, step one, do this, get your data clean, get ready.
Yeah.
And if they get stuck, they just reach out to us and we will help them. So it's not a case of, because it's free, we're not going to help you. It's like, no, we're going to help you. Like, if you get stuck, let us know and we'll jump in and help.
Yeah, that makes sense. And realistically, you can't expect like custom onboarding if you're getting a free product. That does feel a little bit like you're asking too much. So yeah, I'm not surprised there. So essentially, it's the key pay product, the traditional old school key pay product that's been evolved over years. That they get stripped back a few elements. but they can still upgrade to get those elements if they want, and it's only
Correct.
£2 per month per employee.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes, and that's not extortion. And from a price comparison perspective, that still feels like from a £2 per month, that's not excessive like in the marketplace, right?
Yeah, look, we think it's fair, right? Like you price for value, and you look at like say what people are charging across the UK, other businesses like some I see down, and you're talking about like pence. Some I see like are £6, £7 per employee per month just for the software. So there is a really wide range in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's dive into some other areas then, because obviously we might have a number of accountants watching this go, oh, brilliant, I can get free payroll for my clients. But does that still work on a bureau side? Is it that no matter what you've got from a client portfolio, you still get free payroll? Or is there a slightly different structure there?
There is a different structure, and just over a year ago, we actually took a step back from bureaus, from signing up more bureaus, because I just felt like we weren't doing the right thing from a commercial perspective. Um, there wasn't a lot of investment going into the bureau product, and I said, hey guys, let's just put this on ice for now and do some more research. So we spoke to a lot of bureaus and accounting firms. It's a very different conversation, obviously, right? Like accounting firms have a range of services and offerings that they can bring to their clients. But if we hone in on bureau specifically, it's generally one service, right? Like, and it's the payroll servicing. So we surveyed and we asked, we said, hey, what do you want to do with your business? Like, what stage is it at? What do your clients ask you for? Do you know what other softwares your clients are using? Um, would you like to obviously create some more revenue streams? And if so, could we help you with that? And that research showed it was probably just under two-thirds of bureaus were like, hey, like we want to partner with Employment Hero because we're hearing more about the additional technology that you can offer in terms of
Yeah,
HR and recruitment and etc. So we revamped the bureau offering. And again, when I looked at the pricing and the value of software like for bureaus, it was just headed downhill, right?
yeah,
Whereas the value that the payroll bureau offer, the service, is like still holding still, right? Like, and it's a very valuable service, and we didn't want to obviously get in the way of that in any way. So we've been previously charging, per employee per month on the bureau offering. It's a very strong product. It's the key pay old product as well. And we took on product feedback around the dashboard and reporting and integrations. And we said, look, let's do that work first, okay? Um, we two other big chunky pieces of engineering work we needed to do as well, which was the leave module, wasn't amazing. And now we've localized all of our data in the UK and Ireland. So that was like just probably
yeah,
nine months of engineering work in there. But effectively with the bureaus, we said, okay, if you are a new bureau signing up to Employment Hero or an existing bureau, you can choose which pathway you want to go down next. You can continue to pay per employee per month price, or we will only charge you £1,000 a year for unlimited bureau usage on the basis that you are helping us speak to your clients about our HR technology offering. Um, it's a, it's kind of come at good timing because we're obviously seeing competitors move from desktop to cloud, prices change,
yeah,
whereas we're saying, hey, like, and I'll give you an example. So if a bureau has 50 clients and five of them want to upgrade to the HR system, our agreement with that bureau means that the bureau has full control, full access, and keeps the relationship on the payroll side, but
yeah,
we contract directly and can support their client if they want
from
HR
HR.
technology. So that took a bit of engineering as well, and we want to make that a really slick process so the bureau can actually upgrade. They can send a referral to us, and we're paying 20% of the value of the first year deal, and then 10% ongoing for life for that referral. So there's a
Awesome.
revenue stream that the bureau's like, okay, this is relatively straightforward. It's what my client wants. I know Employment Hero. I can see the HR piece as well, and I can see that actually that consolidation of HR and payroll is the way things are going. And as a bureau operator, I retain full control of what I do with my client on the payroll side. So that's we didn't make that one free, Ryan, but £1,000 a year I think is pretty fair. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're a reasonably sized payroll bureau, it's pretty much free, right? Because of how cheap it is. And so, what does that, because there's no requirement to work with you from a HR referral perspective, what does that look like from a commitment perspective? Is that they're committing to a number per year that they're trying to get you in front of?
Yeah, like we've worked it out, and some are bespoke, okay? So if it's a smaller bureau, we're not just going to put this like arbitrary number of like, you need to refer this number. Like we'll sit down with them and say, okay, well, let's actually work this out. Like, what can you do in year one? And then we'll say, well, we'd like you to do A, B, or C. And so it's becoming quite like a one-to-one like discussion on, well, what's possible this year? And then next year it could be like, well, let's formalize it a bit more. Like we want to see, obviously, um, like a healthy business transaction happening between Employment Hero and the Bureau. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be obviously fair on us if someone paid us £1,000 a year for, brilliant software and didn't refer any clients to us. That just wouldn't work and it's not sensible. Yeah.
that makes sense. And it's really good to hear you say that there were areas you identified that you need to work on, such as reporting the dashboard, because those are the ones that I guess, I when I was in my old firm, engaged with employment area, those are generally the weaknesses that we came across. So, when did those all kind of fall into place?
The dashboard, I'd say, has had a complete overhaul now. Reporting is the next 2 quarters. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So look,
Um,
not quite there yet. Like we know we've got stuff to do. But the investment and commitment is there to do it. And we, yeah,
That's cool. No, look, it's
yeah,
always evolving, right? So that I have to ask this because it feels like I can't do a show at the moment without talking about it. But AI is at the forefront of everything, or at the forefront of all the hype at the moment.
yeah.
So, can you give us some tangible things that you are doing internally regarding AI? You don't need to give commitments, but what you're doing as a business to kind of explore this space.
Yeah, look, it actually it's amazing, right? Because there is it is in hype mode, okay? But you have a gap and a chasm between people actually understanding like where do I get started versus people who are like I'm an expert in AI. So what we've done internally is we've rolled out 5 courses to all of our heroes, as we call them, employment hero staff. Um, what is AI? How can you get started? What is the definition of each tool? What can each tool do? And now here is access to those tools. So that is a company-wide like education initiative to get people started. Um, Now we've got to move pretty quick, okay, because we don't want to be behind, or too far back in that gap. So this quarter we have a initiatives and almost like competitions, like for people to actually go away and say, use the tools. Like we will pay for them. Like everybody in the business has a ChatGPT paid subscription. Um, and there's project teams set up to look at different areas of our business, especially operationally and across like all the go-to-market function, which is sales and marketing. Then in customer support and success, we're already using Fin, which is an AI bot. And really, it's like I feel like we're in that very still in that early stages of what is possible and whatever idea we can come up with, like how far can we go with it? Like, and is it like does it actually come to fruition? It's actually really exciting to see like some of the stuff in engineering, like it's phenomenal, right? Like the upside that engineers are seeing. In the sales teams, I'd say the way I think about sales is there is a lot of interactions obviously between a prospect and a sales rep. That still needs to be quite personal, I think. Um, like there are businesses that are using avatars and AI bots to run
Yeah.
a demo. I don't think we're there yet in reality, and like we want to have like a healthy, fruitful conversation, call it human, with
It has to be
prospects.
interactive,
Yeah,
right? And I don't feel you can kind of get that from
yeah,
even a video, right? You need to have an actual a run through,
yeah,
and even if it's
yeah.
just a
But
remote video call.
like 12 months ahead, like what is that going to look like? It's
That's
phenomenal.
true.
So we went through we're going through an education piece with our people. Then we look at our business, but already our engineers are looking at like, well, what can we actually put in the Employment Hero platform? We have had, Hero AI actually, a bot in there for our customers to use, and they can query information in the product and in the platform, especially around a simple example would be um, we give people a library of all the policies that they would need in the UK in terms of employment law. They can pick and choose which ones they want to roll out in their business. They can upload their own. They could use Hero AI today to go in and ask questions on policies, and it will give them like an immediate answer from the library that's actually in their instance of Employment Hero. Um, so some parts of AI I think are search driven, like much cleaner search. That would be an
Yeah,
example. I think where we need to head is like how can you use AI to help you run like your business or almost do your job better than you can. Um, yeah, that's where we're at. I wouldn't, I'm definitely not an expert, by the way. But I feel like if you work in a tech company, it's just swirling around every day, right? Like, and
it is.
you got to get on top of it. But for a typical SME or an accounting firm or a bureau, like, I'm sure they're going, hey, like, how do we grasp this? Like, what's going to happen next? Um, but we're in that early stage of a big change, kind of like the old days of
Yeah,
desktop to
and I think
cloud, right?
and I think you have to be careful because there is a lot of hype, and
Mm,
it will lead into distrust. And so you need to be sure that whenever you're releasing something, it actually has a notable, tangible, positive effect.
yeah,
Because some software vendors out there have released stuff
yeah,
and it's had no positive effect, and people are now like, we just don't trust it. You can keep
yeah.
evolving it, but we just don't trust it now. And it's harder to overcome that hurdle. I do feel you've missed a trick though in calling it hero AI instead of superhero, but maybe that it evolves into that over time. But obviously, there's a lot of flux going on in the market, as you've alluded to. There are traditional systems that are moving to the cloud.
Mhm.
There are legal disputes between incredibly big operators in the space at the moment, which I'm sure you're glad you've avoided in full. But I think that what you've come at here is very different,
Mm,
and potentially a bit of a gamble. Obviously, it needs to cover itself, right? And growth is
yep,
the way that I guess
yep.
you cover it. So there is a little bit of a gamble there. But are you committed? Is this when? Because I know sometimes people go, "Oh, we do this," and then after a year, go, "Oh God, we shouldn't have done that." But essentially, are you committed to this offering for a sustained period of time?
Yeah, this is so we wrote our December 27 strategy in March this year, and this is a key part of it. So I'm not saying that it will finish then, but
No.
where we see ourselves going, like we actually see these as like key levers to help us like execute really well. We also see a big part of what we're doing is EH jobs. Okay, so we see a responsibility and a duty to bring talent to our current clients, and
Yeah.
we've been building like candidate databases in the countries we operate in for over a year now, and through the tools in our system, again another AI example is something we call Smart Match. Employers can go in, write a job description themselves or with the help of AI, and we will start to serve up in the system, like it starts to build on the right hand side, a panel of live job seekers that they can connect with directly. That is like that is really quick, right? Because if you think about the current process where someone writes a job description, publishes a job description, puts it on a jobs board, maybe pays for that advertisement, and then waits for applicants to come through. We're already saying, hey, we've done some of the criteria checking already. These people are available, they're job seekers. You can contact them directly. And currently, we do not charge for that. So I think it's just over 70 placements that we've made in the UK this year for
Cool.
SMEs. So that's again comes back to like how do we bring value into this? So when you ask the question around are we committed, we are absolutely committed because we see many different areas where we can provide value to clients and customers. Um, and it's not just one piece, right? Like it's not like a reliance on free payroll to work. It's like, okay, we're doing really well with our systems. What else can we do for people? And talent is it's tough for SMEs, and we
Yeah.
see in our own data they're recruiting every quarter, right? Like so, it's a consistent thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing that you were exploring a while back was how you can improve cash flow for employees by allowing them to kind of draw down on
Hmm.
their salary potentially before they get paid at the end of the month. Is that still evolving?
Yeah, that's live. So we launched that. Oh, I can't remember exactly the month. I think it was October, November. Earned wage access. So that's live in the system. And just to note, like some clients don't like it, so you can switch it off. Like once
Yeah.
they let us know, like you can switch it off. Okay. Um, so we're seeing like I'd say decent usage of that. Like I still think people are a little bit kind of like, oh, what does this mean? So we've got a lot more education to do on that piece, but the assumption I think from a lot of people is this is going to cost the employer money, but we actually bankroll it,
Okay.
and then like we take the deduction in the pay slips or a pay run, so the employee gets
Okay.
access to their salary quicker. And there's limits on it. Like we've obviously got like financial responsibility to think about and make sure that no one's kind of getting themselves into a bit of strife unintentionally. So they can only draw down £500 per month at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I guess it's that what would be the word? It's the responsible replacement for those like payday loan schemes, right? That got a bit of a
yeah,
bad rep.
yeah. There's so many short term, like like credit options out there. Like the worst is probably credit card, right? Like you kind of, I don't think anybody ever really reads how much interest they might pay if they don't pay it. But
Oh
as
yeah,
soon as you start to see like 22, 24%, like I think people get a shock, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I forgot to pay mine the other day, and only by a day, right? And it was like £34 I got charged or something. I was just like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
that's crazy. Yeah, it is rough, right? Like, and there's lots out there, like there's the buy now, pay later, there's the short-term credit, there's the ones that aren't as official, maybe, like, and people get themselves into a bit of trouble. So again, it comes back to our mission. How do we bring value to people? And we are true believers that, you know, it, we talk about it this internally, and Ben, our founder, kind of questions like, who said people should just get paid monthly at the end of the month? Who was
Yeah.
that? Who was that person who decided it internationally? Like it's amazing. Like when you think about it. So, um, we see a lot of uptake, especially shift workers that maybe their weeks aren't regular, right? Like, and they
Yep.
might do like less shifts in one week, and are like kind of thinking, oh, I gotta wait until I work like next week to get paid. And so we're looking at ways that people could get paid at the end of their shift, which I
Yep.
think could be quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh,
But
cool.
obviously no cost to the employer. Yeah, we fund it
Which is
all.
critical, really.
Mm.
All right. So we've talked about lots of things here, but I guess the two critical bits are both the free payroll and also the £1,000 payroll bureau. So in each of those instances, what is the best way for businesses or accounting firms to reach out to Employment Hero if they want to explore this?
Yep, jump onto employmenthero.com. It'll be pretty easy to find. There's a become a partner form. There's the pricing is all laid out there. We don't hide anything. It's all very visible. If someone gets stuck, ping me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive. And if they have questions, they can come directly to me, and I'll make sure they're in touch with the right person in that day.
Sounds good. Well, look, thanks,
Yeah,
Karen, for jumping on. And it does sound quite an exciting offering in how you're doing this as well. So I will be exploring this as I look to bring in people into digital transformers. So
thank you.
um, thanks, mate. And I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon.
Cheers.